exactly sure in which tournaments, but we're going to ask Wardy about that after this one. And let's see if that man was onto something. But first up, in the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the man who did not qualify for a single DreamHack event last year. But I'm really happy to see that he's finally made it in 2021. Hailing from Russia, a true Bratan, it's Strange. I have no idea why we're looking at Sort of and Lambo. I think that's a little bit odd, but we'll figure that one out for you guys.
And in the top right-hand side, playing for Team Liquid, he qualified for everything. It's uThermal.
I mean, Cats, if you're telling me that I can look at Lambo or Sort of at any given moment, I'll take it, right? Like, they are pretty handsome. I'm a big fan. So
very much.
Why the hell not? A little spy cam of Lambo. Yeah. Let's see what that boy's up to.
Yeah, that would be good. We can go off of their facial expressions and try to see what they are thinking relative to this match. They're surely watching.
For sure. So we're going to kick things off on Oxide. Obviously, Oxide is a lovely Terran map in TVZ, and a lot of Terrans also kind of like it when they go up against the Protosses. Strange, I mean, we're going to do this a couple of times in this best of three, so forgive us, is kind of a strange Protoss player, where he does things a bit different, like he doesn't wall off in PvP. There are not too many guys on this level that don't wall off every single game. And he just kind of has his own ways to play. Sometimes he's a bit stubborn. He plays in the dark. Like, he probe scouted, but very late, and didn't even go all the way to the other side of the map. He just does a lot of little things in his own way, and he's comfortable and happy with it, I guess.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and living up to his name as well, right? Like, he named himself Strange probably because he likes to you know, not go with the thing that everyone else is doing. He likes to play it different, and that's something I can very much get behind.
uThermal scouted a little more with his SCV, so he knows that Strange is not doing something super crazy like Void Ray all-in or anything one base oriented. It all seems a little standard on the side of the Russian, at least for uThermal. We know that it's a bit weird for Protoss not to scout at all, because aren't you worried about certain proxies? Don't you want to know if your Terran opponent has expanded or not? Apparently this man doesn't give a damn.
Yes, indeed. And it's going to be a Stalker into a Sentry opening, so pretty safe as well with a shield battery, Strange. So while he is cutting some corners, he's also kind of situating himself on that low ground nicely. So maybe he could have been punished by something like Marauders proxied or something weird, but other than that, in this stage, he seems to be pretty well set up.
Yeah. Even the tech is a bit different, right? Don't we normally talk about, is it going to be a Firelight or is it going to be a Stargate? And Strange is like, nope, it is going to be a Robo. Now, the upside of having an early Robo is obviously you can get a couple of observers out. You can maybe have one observer to spot for drops, one observer near the Terran's main base. The downside of this opening is that you're kind of stuck, right? Like, there's not really you can do, not a lot of fun plays you can make. The only thing you can really do is just defend and make sure you don't lose too many probes against whatever uThermal is going to throw at you.
Yeah, it'll slow down most timings as well. You won't be able to be out on the map with Blink Stalkers or anything like that. So we'll see. Do you think it's going to be observers for sure? Is there any possibility of Aurora Prism, I was going to say, but no, it's definitely an observer. And
I think
yeah,
this is going to be
playing defensive.
Yeah, probably just Observer, Robo Bay, maybe even another Observer or Observer Immortal into another Ops, and then going into Colossus. Strange is someone who does like his 2-base or 3-base timing attacks with a couple of gateway units and a couple of very early, strong, powerful Robo units. I think that's kind of his plan. Like, uThermal is sending out Marines at this point. These Marines could normally get a cancel on a very greedy Nexus. Look at this, double Forge. Cats, what the hell are we watching in this first game?
I don't know, but I like it, I have to say. I mean, I guess it's going to be something like a 1-1 timing attack, or can you actually transition into a third of this? It seems like your third would be so late.
I mean, a 2-base all-in of 2 Forges seems pretty bad to me.
It does.
Yeah. I mean, Strange is going to have issues even dealing with this tiny push, because it's only a single tank and a couple of Marines. But the downside of Strange's opening, he's got no units. That Immortal is not in range of the battery. It will get healed. Can we kill it? No, because... Oh, yes, we can. Wow. That final tank shot was massive there.
Yeah, very good focus fire in there from uThermal, and now with this shield battery, it's about to run out, however, but Strange does a very good job of picking up the tank in the last second, and uThermal will be forced back. So how do you feel about this exchange? Basically an Immortal for a tank, just about.
I think it's quite decent for Strange, about as good as it was going to be, and man, Overcharge is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
if it wasn't for battery Overcharge there, I actually think Strange just loses the game. I don't think he's gonna kill that tank anytime soon. That Immortal would have died so much sooner. The Marine count would have stayed pretty high. Overcharge really kind of saved the Russian.
Most definitely. I mean, that Immortal was one stutter step away from dying, right? Like 1 second away from taking too many shots, and that would have been lights out. But instead, it's going to be Strange with a Colossus on the way now, with 1-1 on the way, chrono boosting both upgrades as well. No third inside, but extra gateways being added. So it looks like almost this is some sort of all-in. But as I say that a Twilight Council is added, I really don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, he's going to go up to 3 bases now. He just wants to get a Colossus out as quickly as possible. And obviously, he is going to have great upgrades. I do like the Spotting Observer on the left side. That could potentially see some drops incoming. It's definitely different. It's a very different pacing to most of the PvTs we see. But at initial exchange, it kind of worked out. But now it's going to get a bit more dicey, because the next time he doesn't have to defend 2 bases. He's going to have to keep 3 bases alive.
Yeah, that is going to be a problem. Only 1 medevac out for uThermal, and it's headed towards the main base, but it will be spotted by that observer. So most likely the stalkers will be easily deflecting and even baiting a little bit, letting the medevac go in a little bit further before he can abuse the terrain. But uThermal...
Oh, the medevac with 8 Marines died on the left corner. I apologize, observer, that was a pretty big one. The stalker's got enough shots off, not a single Marine got unloaded. And even though uThermal is going to be able to slowly but steady make his way forward here, to lose 8 Marines inside of a medevac like that is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, Stim's not even done for him, so those Marines can't really do much in that regard. The tank siege is really nice here, and it's going to be really annoying from uThermal. Any units going down that ramp are going to be taxed by Liberators and tank shots. But I love the decision making from Strange there, right? Instantly canceling his third and just pulling back. I think he's just gonna wait comfortably until he has enough, and he knows that there aren't any reinforcements coming from uThermal as well.
All he needs to do is wait for charge. I mean, the rest of the army here of uThermal is really not very good in dealing with Zealots. So if Strange can get 7 or 8 Zealots on top of these tanks, he's gonna not have any issues at all in cleaning this up. And I'm starting to get a bit concerned about uThermal's position in this game. It's not bad, but because of the super early double forge, Strange does have the potential to hit a pretty devastating 2-2 timing attack down the line. Charge is done, and we can see that the Russian is going for it. Don't lose a Colossus, mate. That's a little bit sloppy if you ask me. And I actually don't like the way that Strange cleans this up, Cats. I think he could have dealt with this a little better.
Yeah, I mean, that Colossus, like you were saying, it could have just pulled back, but good focus firing as well from uThermal. To try and exploit those little mistakes from Strange will pay off a little bit. At the same time, I feel like that was still good for him, right?
I think it was still good, but it should have been so much better. You really don't have to lose a Colossus there. I think we lost a Sentry and a Stalker too. I mean, that was incredibly unnecessary, because the Zealots alone would have already won the fight against the tanks and the Marines. So why the hell are we losing an expensive robo unit?
Yeah, absolutely agreed. So now we're gonna see uThermal moving out yet again. This game still seems like it's in anyone's grasp. However, the upgrades are nearly done on the 2-2 now for Strange, which, I mean, that seems like that's so fast. Like, that's the fastest 2-2 I've seen in a long time.
Yep, ever since they nerfed the upgrades, you don't really see the upgrades finishing up this early anymore. And especially because we have a Robo out, we have Storm on the way. I mean, Strange definitely doing his own thing. He's playing his own flavor of PvT, but it's kind of working out. Even if he's down in supply, I'll gladly be down a bit in supply if you tell me I already have 2 Colossus out. Should have been 3, but 2 Colossus still pretty good. I'm gonna make an Immortal. I've got 4 High Templars with Storm finishing up, and I've got a decent 2 upgrade advantage over the Terran. Hello there, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 2-2 is about to finish. 2 gateways are being added as well. There is some production for Strange, but not enough, I think, to really push it to the limit, though. There are 4 Templars loaded into a War Prism as well. So are we going to see a timing here, or is he just going to continue to go to 3-3? Do you think he should push right now?
Yeah, I don't mind getting a little adventurous the moment Storm is done and those 2-2 upgrades are done, and I think that's exactly what Strange is going to do. Can you almost see that Observer? I don't think he can. The range of the missile turret is not big enough. Yeah, going through the rock seems like a good play, man. This Protoss army is really powerful for 10 minutes into a PvT on Oxide. I kind of like it for Strange that this is going to be really difficult for uThermal to survive.
Yeah, big siege tanks, but that's a lot of zealots, and they're gonna charge. At least uThermal manages to tuck in a lot of the bio, but the storm is gonna go on everything, and it looks like Strange is pushing through here. The Templar is now morphing into an Archon to save them. There is zealots in the natural. The Colossi continuing this time around, trying to be microed, but the Vikings will get the better of them. Yet still, this is looking amazing for Strange. He has killed 10 SCVs and most of the army everywhere.
Yep, the Zealots in the natural really make this good, because now there is a lot of SCVs very exposed at the third too. uThermal's going to try to do whatever he can to survive. I think Strange could have done a tiny bit better, to be honest, because the way he lost the Prism was a bit reckless, and then the Colossus was tanking shots from the missile turret. But who really cares? Because in the end, he is dealing a lot of economic damage. He has killed 14 SCVs. uThermal's only mining of 1 mineral line at this point. We still are 2 upgrades ahead if we're on Team Strange. It could have been better, Cats, but it's still more than good enough.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, right now, I think he just needs to keep uThermal from retaking that third anytime soon. Maybe even take a fourth if he's feeling adventurous. But even just off of his 3 bases, I don't think he needs to push in here, but he might just have enough regardless. uThermal forced to unload back again, so the worst possible timing from him. And this is looking a little bit rough, though, going up that choke. Perhaps the worst possible move from Strange.
It is, but he's once more killing a lot of SCVs, and now even the Orbital is starting to run low on HP. You can see how long those Zealots stayed alive, man. Having an upgrade advantage is so crazy in PvT. More SCVs fall, and uThermal is still only mining of a single mineral line. And we all know Legacy of the Void, 12 minutes in. There aren't too many minerals left in the main base. Strange is being a bit reckless, but it's okay because he's 29 workers ahead. He's comfortably mining of 3 bases, and he's got a War Prism in the mix again. And he's going to blink in one more time to deal with these Liberators.
Yeah, he can throw away units at this point. Yeah, these are not the best trades in the world, but I mean, when you have triple the income of your opponent, it's going to work out just fine. So we are seeing here the beginning of the end, or the end of the end, rather, as Strange will take map 1. And Wardy.
Yeah, I know. Points. I was about to say I should have gone with my initial instinct, but I was like, is Wardy really onto something? Yeah, I was like, nah, can't be. Wardy's never onto something, but... Well done. It feels that Strange plays very counter meta, right? Like uThermal's opening is supposed to be really good in punishing a quick third base of the Protoss. You show up with 8-9 Marines and a tank, and it's like, oh, you're on 2 bases? Well, let's see if I can push that. And I didn't hate the push. It's just that overcharge absolutely saved the Russian Protoss. And after that, well, the double forge eventually kicked in. It wasn't 1-1, but the moment he had those 2-2 upgrades, those Zealots, they just lived forever.
Yeah, and that makes a lot more sense than 1-1, right? Because it's such a heavy investment that you're not going to have as much production by the time 1-1 finishes. Mm-hmm. It's a very strange opening indeed. I wouldn't have been mad if he waited for 3-3 either at that point, right? Because he was still getting situated as far as tech was concerned, as far as production was concerned. But at 2-2 he hits, and he hits hard, and that looked really strong, to be honest.
Yeah, it looked pretty perfect, and I even felt that the attack, he could have maybe executed a little bit better. Like, if the bio bow is massive, I obviously like the move of putting High Templars in a War Prism, flying in there, dropping some big storms on clumped up bio units, but it was mostly tanks that uThermal had defensively, and because he flew in like that, we landed a couple of all-right storms, and we did force the bio to retreat pretty deep into the natural and the third, but then we lost the Prism in a rather reckless way, and there was a Colossus standing right on top of a missile turret, which is also not ideal. But yeah, in the end, who cares? The upgrade advantage was big, and it allowed those Zealots to live for such a long time that he could just warp in on his side of the map and continue pushing.
Yeah, tanks are just difficult to make work against Zealots. I'm not sure if uThermal could have maybe spotted the army composition somehow and decided for mines, but it's a very difficult thing to do, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, we're loaded into the second map now. And spawning in the top right-hand side of the map, the blue Terran player for Team Liquid, it is uThermal.
Definitely a tiny upset to kick off day 2 here at the DreamHack SC2 Masters Summer. In the bottom left side, this man has taken the 1-0 lead, hailing from Russia. It is Strange.
Very, very cool. All right, I wonder what he has in store this game.
I feel like uThermal. I think he's a man of extremes, Cats. So in the first game, if we open up very defensive with a Robo and double forge, I think we're gonna see something a little wilder in game 2. Maybe DTs, maybe Blink Stalkers, and 4 gateways.
All right, I would like to see that. And what's the patrol there about with the probe at on the low ground? He patrolled there for a bit.
I think spotting for a potential early SCV, maybe trying to be in, if an SCV was going to be annoying, trying to build an eBay or trying to get a bunker up. I don't think it's too impactful.
Yes, indeed. And uThermal has proxied his first barracks just so that it doesn't get scouted, even though Strange didn't really scout last game, but this time around he will. So he will look around the main base and expect that there is something like a proxy barracks. It could be, I guess, given the gases, Marauders or Reapers. And yeah, this could work out well for uThermal.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny opening because uThermal is also opening up with the factory of just one command center, and now Strange is cutting the double gas. Like, if I'm Protoss at this point, all alarm bells go off, but uThermal is going to send his Marine into the main base, and that obviously means that this barracks is nearby.
Yeah.
I'd be a little less concerned if I was Strange because of seeing that Marine this early.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like uThermal should not have shown it? At the same time, it's a juicy probe, right? It's so difficult to decide not to kill it.
Exactly. I would have preferred maybe to wait a few seconds, but there is a chance that Strange would have gone into the natural anyway. Strange is going to go for the Stargate in game 2, and I don't hate it. I mean, you can see with the way that he's moving his Adept out and the fact that we don't have a shield battery in the natural yet, that he has kind of figured out that this barracks was being built on uThermal side of the map. There is a chance that if he opens up Phoenixes here, he's not going to take a lot of damage against the Hellions, or even an Oracle is quite good against Hellion openings too.
Yeah, and whenever I'm casting with you, I expect players to go Phoenix, Roddy. I think it's just, you know, they're trying to sacrifice, well, not so much to sacrifice Phoenix sounds terrible, but you know, make a sacrifice to the gods here. And yeah, I think Phoenixes are very likely, right? Could it be anything else? Stargate is done. There.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate an Oracle, but the one downside of Oracle is that, you know, you might have to activate Pulsar Beam, but if there's a medevac in the mix, then you activate Pulsar Beam. The Terran players are annoying. They pick up their Hellions. You run out of energy. Then they drop the Hellions again. I think I prefer a Phoenix opening here and just crank them out. The fact that Strange lost an Adept is a little bit problematic because you don't have a lot of units to begin with here. I wouldn't even mind a temporary full wall off in the natural to make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, good angle from uThermal there, shooting both of the adepts at the same time. One will get low, but the shield battery finishes right on time. So a couple more seconds there would have been a door open. Instead, he's going to elevate these Hellions, and so it's going to work out. And Strange actually not paying attention right away with those Phoenix. He's going to lift off one Hellion at a time, but that means
this is good.
These 3 Hellions will still get a pretty good shot off. And yeah, this is I don't know. I mean, 5 probes, that's not the worst thing in the world, is it?
Absolutely not. It is important that Strange picks up on the follow-up, because the man does not have any detection yet, and these Widow Mines will be permanently cloaked. And uThermal with some relentless aggression here in the early game. Now this is where it gets bad, because now you're forced to make an Oracle, you're forced to drop a Revelation, and you're obviously still not scouting. uThermal has already picked up 2 additional mines with his medevac.
Yeah.
This is some Maru-esque style here from our Terran player.
I love it. And I mean, if Strange could have stayed on that medevac with the Phoenixes, this could be a little bit different, but now he only has 1 Revelation. And he's going to have to wait for the second one, which means he can't mine from his main base for a little while. So brilliant moves, beautiful from uThermal, who's going to do the same thing again onto the natural. And Revelation is just not going to cut it here.
He can lift one, but he didn't lift the other one. The probes are a little bit clumped up. They're very clumped up. The retarget there by uThermal will not settle for a single probe. Instead, he kills all the probes. And the Dutchman absolutely finding the damage that he's looking for. That was sick. Beautiful retarget.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this, spreading the mines, making sure that 1 Revelation won't catch them all. And actually, uThermal choosing to go for the one outside, which means there's still a mine cloaked in his natural base. And I think it's the really mean one that has 12 kills on it. It's going to rack up 2 more kills to make it 13.
Sick. It all starts when you don't take care of the Hellions immediately. And this is why I said before all of this started, Strange, you already lost an Adept. You know you won't have that much DPS, but you also know you're economically ahead. Why not just temporarily fully wall yourself in, build a pile in there. It's an investment of 100 minerals, but then you can have an adept in the mineral line of your natural and in the mineral line of the main base. Then it's a lot easier to clean up the Hellions, and if you clean up the Hellions quicker, then you can get on top of the Widow Mines. I feel that Strange was a bit stubborn here, trying to play super optimal. This is what I love about Zest. I feel like Zest is very good at analyzing these situations, and he'll just make his life so easy. He's like, oh, I'm economically ahead, you need to kill probes. Well, I'm just going to make sure you don't kill probes. And he will play it extra safe, double battery, full wall off, take, or literally takes no damage, and then you're so far ahead as a Protoss.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also would have liked to see those Phoenixes being patrolled a little bit more, right? Like they were just kind of sitting on one side, and so, you know, he didn't notice right away, and uThermal makes his way very far in with that medevac, or more so than he should have. He should have been forced to drop those right away, and that medevac really, it should have died after the fact. So a few mistakes from Strange, mostly on execution though. Strategically, he's been so great throughout the series. The problem is he just hasn't kept up in this particular game, and now it's looking really rough for him.
Yeah, it sure is. uThermal is ready to march to the other side of the map, but not with Hellions and Widow Mines this time. It's quite a few Marines, 2 medevacs and 2 tanks. And at this point, the Terran army is quite a bit better than the Protoss army. Strange is still busy cleaning up the Widow Mines from the early game. And he will receive the bad news that Stim is done. And what does he have that's good against Stim Marines? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, nothing. A battery, I guess, but that's not going to last too long, as there is tanks now sieging his wall off. So uThermal taking a very cautious, very organized approach here to move forward onto the base of Strange. This is the right way to do it. And yeah, let's see. I think he's going to trade well. He wants to unsiege and do one thing at a time here with the tanks. Snipes the sentry. This is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be so hard to take care of the tanks. Of course, we can use the Phoenixes to lift the tanks, but uThermal is really good in gunning down Phoenixes if he has to. And I don't think he really even has to, because the Marines were doing perfectly fine on themselves. There are still 1 tank ready to fire away at these Immortals. There's a Big Daddy Colossus showing up. I gotta say, Strange is making the absolute best of this, but it's simply not good enough. Really good job there by uThermal, getting the Phoenixes again. And that's gonna be all C road for game 2.
Most def, and we're going to a game 3. Will Wardy be proven wrong? I feel like I would rather all of us be wrong at this point than just Wardy be proven, right? Like,
if one of us is wrong, we are gonna be wrong. I love it.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way it has to be. Yeah. And yeah, we're gonna go to a quick break, and when we come back, the decider between Strange and uThermal. We are all tied up in this series between Strange and uThermal. And we are headed into game 3. We were talking a little bit Roddy. And yeah, Strange a little bit stubborn, you were saying. Not to build that extra pylon, not to invest that monies.
Yeah, I think especially when you know you're going up against a one base oriented opening from the Terran and you scout and you lose an adept. Like Protoss has a really good early game defense, but the one downside is that you don't have too many units. If you lose one adept already, you know you're going to be lacking some DPS to take care of certain things as quick as you normally would. I still like the fact that we lost the adept because he got a perfect scout off. He even got some shots off on the Hellion. I really think that Zess is a master in keeping things really simple for himself. He would have temporarily walled himself in, split the adepts open, and I do love your point about the Phoenixes. You should not have two Phoenixes just idling on the left side of your main. No, they should be moving around a little bit to give yourself some extra vision and give yourself the heads up of the aggression that you know is coming, because it's a one-base Terran.
Most definitely. So we'll see if Strange can adjust here, if uThermal is even going to be aggressive. But yeah, in the top left-hand side, the red Protoss player, it is Strange.
And that, of course, means that in the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of our Dutch Terran player, representing Team Liquid. Had some beautiful Widowmine shots in game 2. It is uThermal.
Washed, this is tagged. Washed uThermal.
Yeah. He always comes up with some creative clan names on Battle.net, and he's not actually representing them.
Yeah. That's the advantage of being branded with Team Liquid for like 10 years now or something. Like, it's been quite a while. I mean, maybe not 10 years, but something like 7 at least, right? So everyone knows he's a Liquid man, and look at this from Strange. Maybe what you were anticipating for game 2 is happening here in game 3.
Yeah, it's a bit strange because we do have double gas up and running too. I feel like it's a little too far away for Void Ray, so could it just be a double gate opening? I'm not exactly sure where Strange is going to take this. If I'm uThermal and I'm going to scout the main base of Strange and I see that he's not expanding and I see it's double gas, I would be absolutely terrified. It has to be a Stargate, right? Yeah, anything else doesn't make sense. Or
we'll have to wait and see. I mean, uThermal is also going to scout the main of Strange and see that there is a proxy pylon. Like, would you ever consider just not dropping anything? Oh, but there's a robo now.
Maybe it's double robo? Is there a chance that we bring back the one-base double robo proxy?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's got to be Immortal, certainly. So, Immortal Adept, it looks like is gonna be the flavor here. And the bunker on the low ground, it may not be enough though. uThermal does have a reactor on that barracks relatively early, so he's going to be pumping out Marines. I mean, and he drops a fast factory to adjust as well.
Every Terran that scouts what uThermal has scouted at this point is thinking of Stargates, no? Like, that's just what has been all the rage over the last few months. We all know about the Void Rays, the shield batteries. I'll be real, if I was a Terran in uThermal's shoes, I wouldn't be thinking about the proxy robo at this point. Now, Strange is expanding. What the hell is this, cat?
I mean, I don't know. He makes an observer off of the proxy robo right away. And this is kind of, I mean, I was saying maybe if he gets scouted, maybe he shouldn't drop a proxy at all, right? Because uThermal will be anticipating that there is a proxy. And this is kind of the same effect, right? He's not banking on his proxy to do too much. He gets an observer out first, and now he's making an Immortal.
Yeah, I definitely do think that we're banking on this proxy dealing damage, because that Nexus is so much later than the command center of uThermal. And on top of that, it's a robot that's out on the map. It's not the cheapest building, and you know, not a very important one where you can just look at it and be like, oh yeah, I don't care. Okay, I think I have seen a Russian Protoss. I forgot who he was, but he did it against Cuckoo in the European Proto Weekly. It was super bizarre. Basically, it started off with Immortals, then we had a War Prism, Gateway Pressure, and the Terrans like, what? And all of a sudden, bam, DTs being warped in the at the proxy and in the main base too of the War Prism. I think he's going to follow this up with DTs.
That would be cool. BAM DTs. I mean, that sounds like a thing that would be really annoying to deal with. It's personally my least favorite thing. Also a very cute move, by the way, from the side of Strange there to let the Adept Shade go in. And when uThermal unloads the bunker, that's when the Immortal moves in. So very, very cool. Takedown of the bunker. Ooh, okay.
Really good Marine movement there by uThermal. Marines don't have that much micro potential, but the movement was perfect. He believed in the DPS of these guys with the guns, and he got on top of the Immortal. Strange is actually researching charge at this point, but he's going to lose power to his proxy. I think that Strange underestimated the power of the Marine. No combat shield, no stim, no problem apparently.
Yeah, that looked really, really strong. I mean, Strange was kiting as best as he could, but uThermal, like you said, just kiting as well as he could and really squeezing, you know, all the value that you can squeeze out of those Marines. The only good thing for Strange coming out of that proxy is going to be that Observer sitting on top of uThermal. He's going to be able to see exactly what's coming out, and it is going to be a DT follow-up after the charge. So that is the one way where maybe Strange can get back into this.
I think he's kind of dead, mate. He's got no units, and there's a lot of Marines running towards the other side of the map. The Viking is going to land. The shield battery is going to get cancelled, and yeah, we're going to have to buy a lot of time, but I don't really see how uThermal is just never going to go up into the main base. There is nothing. There is one Stalker and a Zealot.
Yeah, that's rough, man. That just did not work out.